Let's stay in the world to get
Blagger.
step into the
How's it going, everyone? It's me, Cthulhu Crisis. I'm joined here with Akuhish. How are you doing today, Aku?
I am doing good.
Are you ready for this race?
I am ready for this race.
Tonight... Yeah,
got
tonight...
some,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Aku.
got some interesting flag sets for this one.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is Epoch Fail with duplicate characters, which I think will be really interesting. So we're going to go ahead and flip over here, and we're going to be starting pretty soon. So what can you say about the start of this run?
Well, the start is you cannot just fly around with the epic, so you have to figure out where to go first. Do you go to Denadoro? Do you go straight to 600?
And our racers are
check
getting
snail
ready to
stop?
start, waiting for the timer to begin. Yeah.
Also, what characters do you have can determine some of those things. And we got Maro and Magus as our starting characters, but they're going to be played as Frog and Luca.
So, are starting characters more important in a category like this, Aku, in your opinion?
They can be, because Maro unlocks one check that you can do. Robo unlocks a check you can do. But you need the key item for Maro's quest. So Mershana is checking out Melchior and possibly getting a weapon. And both of those are good starting weapons for Denadoro start.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually Denadoro, like, you have so many other options available to you that would be easier than Denadoro. That, like, it's interesting to have something where Denadoro is such a favored start.
Oh, you get the levels and 2 techs in one fight instead of 2 fights.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Denadoro, the Denadoro grind at the start there. And this category, it just makes so much sense because you're passing by a market. It's guaranteed to have a weapon strong enough to help you take advantage of it, if you even need it.
And Fitz got a really quick cat pet in. And we got Jets of Time right there at Snail Stop. So if you bought a weapon, you cannot get those right away. Mershana just not going to check out what's at Snail Stop and just go forward and figure it out later. And if you noticed, Fitz did not change any of his settings. Mershana did not change any settings because we can do that before the game starts now.
Oh, it's such a nice quality of life improvement. Being able to set the battle speed and even your background color.
Oh, Frog taking a miss. Does not change the RNG, so the next hit will be a crit.
Not a
But
hard enough hit to one-shot the bird there on Fitz's side here.
same with Mershana. Did they both get the sword for Frog?
Well, that one-shot the birds. Or I guess it just did enough to finish it. Interesting.
Oh, it's a rare thing that happens. The
Is
first one just does not put any bonuses. I don't know why.
Interesting, because yeah, there it is. And it's interesting that it happened to both of them.
Yeah, so it's a seed thing
Mm-hmm.
and something for Pseudo-Arc and other people to check into.
But
It has been brought up. I've seen it happen before. And I've been told it's just a random event.
well, there's Frog Flare. How much better of a way can you have to start than that? Frog Flares and Ethers and Mid-Tonics. Or Ethers available right here. It's pretty nice. As one free Fitz heads into the desert. Now Mershana taking the time to check the snail stop.
Yeah, they do not have money quite yet for that.
Sure.
But
you-
going into desert might give you that money from selling the stuff.
Yeah, that's true. So how does the Jets of Time key item work? Can you talk about the difference there a little bit?
Oh, as we saw Dalton right there, after we get the Jets of Time, we talk to him and he puts the wings on the Epic. Then we can fly around with it. Otherwise, the Epic stays in that one spot in all time periods that you can get into. So it changes routing a lot.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping for the Jets of Time to be more hidden than that, so we'd see the different routing choices. I think Mershana is going to be checking out the next character at Cathedral. And what I typically do is I go all the way through Cathedral and do Xenon Bridge.
Ooh, Frog getting
Otherwise,
knocked down on one free Fitz side, but they do get the runaway.
otherwise in 600 AD, that bridge is an impassable thing, and you have to work around it, coming up through this mountain every time you want to go back, instead of heading to the Epic.
Really friendly loot so far. Look at all the goods one free Fitz is able to already have and be selling.
Yeah, I see that. He can just buy that Jets of Time and go forward with that.
So where do you turn in the Jets of Time? Or how does
You
that
turn
work?
it in to Dalton, who's right there at the snail stop.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty convenient.
For this seed, it is very convenient. Yeah, and I've done some seeds where I never got the Jets of Time and I've beaten the seed.
There goes one free Fitz grabbing that Jets of Time. Eight
then
minutes in.
Then it just warps to where you are right there, so you can fly around right away.
Immediately going, grabbing those tabs, grabbing that carpenter, or not the carpenter, the key item from Carpenter's wife here.
Well, you might as well turn it into a normal seed with duplicate characters as soon as you can. And we got a Marl over here. But it is Robo, who is dressed up as Marl.
What will
That
be at Carpenter? Because now we already have some divergence. Marshana is, at least for now, going to skip going to Snail Stop. Is instead going to bark up this tree, and I think that's really interesting. But how far behind could they get from it if it doesn't pay off?
yeah, with the divergence and that being the clone is only good for go mode.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't actually buy actual progression.
And not yet. Like it will, just not at the moment.
Setting up bridge from one free fits as well.
Yeah, I don't know if Marshana did that before coming in here or not.
It's going to be interesting because one free fits has a lot of information and is not that far behind, just a few encounters behind. And it looks like Marshana is going back out of the cathedral.
She might be fine with her team right now, too.
That's true. You've got Robo, you've got Marl. None of the other ones are going to lock a quest. If you like this team,
Getting that free shelter. Every time you go through this forest, you can get a free shelter.
the other thing one free fits got was a good AoE clear out this Nagaet fight one shot.
They both got that with their beginning techs.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is really nice.
So Marshana is immediately checking Xenon Bridge. Will Fitz complete Cathedral? Or just go for the Nagaet? The Bromide.
And both are good choices. Like, and going just for the Nagaet bromide and leaving is good. Getting the character can also be good.
Yeah, if you got a nice Ayla out of that, that would potentially really pay off. Ooh, it's a gate key on the bridge.
Ooh, I'd be keeping that.
Yeah, for sure. The Muscle Ring Robo Marl on Fitz's side. And one free Fitz is about to get the good news about the gate key as well.
And I've been kind of thinking about getting the bromide and going into Xenon Bridge because you get decent tech doubling for that character you just got. So from this fight that Marshana is in, she should get 2 techs on that last person she got.
Interesting. Yeah, Life 2 and Provoke. Get
Just
all the
like
garbage
that.
techs learned now, right?
Well, and the quicker you learn 2 techs, you're learning that 3rd tech. And using that tech doubling too. And one free fits because he did not get that one fight for the Naga bromide. Might get that on the second fight, but I don't know because I've never not gotten that bromide.
Yeah, it's interesting because I played around with some starts a while back that involved like going into Cathedral and then leaving and doing a grind fight. And this is actually really interesting because there are pretty good tech point gains, but certain teams may struggle against Zombor this early.
Well, Flare would take out
Well,
bottom.
that's true.
You just have to take out the top, which is ice and shadow damage. And Marshana getting that menu glitch so it can heal up and get ready for the Zombor fight.
We're within one encounter of each other, but one free fits has that fly or that winged epoch already. Now, at what point is that going? Like, does that even give one free fits an advantage right now with Carpenter item having not given progression? Does it unlock access to anything else with what we have right now?
No, it does not. It gives 1 speed tab or 2 speed tabs, but that's it.
Okay.
As far as progression, no. And Maro Robo is taking a little nap.
Yeah, this is a little tight because
It is really
Zombor
tight.
can be a problem. And the head of Zombor can do some pretty major damage. Did one free fits get enough gear and enough XP and everything from any and the tabs for this to go easier for him? I mean, Frog's doing pretty solid damage.
Yeah, Frog with that weapon will do good damage. You just have to keep attacking that head and then flare the bottom.
It looks like Mershana has maintained the battle here. Saved it. But it got pretty tight there.
It did. That AoE that Zombor did nearly took her out.
Oh, there goes the head. On both sides.
Uh,
Wow.
except Fitz lost flare for a few turns.
Oh, and Mershana had already done quite a bit to the legs.
Yeah, she flared it early.
Interesting.
So Mershana's through that fight and can now have better access through 680 and the gate key.
And I don't know how long it takes to save up the gold to be able to go buy that Jets of Time, but they may not be that far away from that either.
Should have the gold now to just buy it. If not, it's selling a couple of things that you picked up along the way.
Here's a 50 gold shelter.
It's cheaper than an actual shelter.
It
so.
is. It definitely is. And it looks like you were right. It looks like Marshana might be going to get it now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is how I would be going about it too. Go into the market, make sure you do have enough gold. Sell those few things.
Yeah, just enough to get what you need. And then we've got a really close race here. But yeah, the Jets of Time obviously is going to give uh, much easier access to be able to use the gate key. Can you get to where you use the gate key without the Jets of Time?
Yes. Yes, you can. You would use a vortex point right next to Luca's house.
Oh, okay. And then go backwards through Hecarim Cave?
Yes.
Interesting.
It's where you pop out is the beginning of screen 2. So you just go backwards. There's just one fight you can run from, and then you can go to that portal.
And we see magic getting unlocked by Fitz. Mershana going, grabbing that clone and the speed tab, then probably heading to the same place. And it's going to be interesting because they're going to gain access to Dactyl Nest, and they're going to gain access to Reptite Lair. Now, Reptite
Also,
Lair.
Mount Woe.
Oh, yeah, and Mount Woe. Interesting. With this team, I would probably look at Woe. It's a little early, but your techs are so perfect. You can grind as much as you want on the way up. That's really interesting. They've got interesting decisions here.
Yeah, they do. And even though the Jets of Time is supposed to throw a small wrench into it, it's everything else can make it interesting too.
Yeah, you're going to get interesting combinations.
And with duplicate characters, we don't know what characters we're going to get and how many of them we're going to get.
Interesting. Yeah, this definitely seems like an interesting mode with quite a few things for you to think about in your runs, which is it's going to be fun to see what is found to be fast in this type of category.
Yeah, and fast can be when you get the Jets of Time, where they are, how you unlock magic, also what route you take to get to the different go mode key items.
We actually see Fitz running down Mystic Mountains. And then looking at Dactyl. Do you think they're looking for Ayla? Because if you get anyone but Ayla and you want to use them, you have to go back to Magic again.
Another thing with Epic Fail is going up Dactyl Nest will unlock the dactyls, so you can still fly around in this era without the Epic.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. I
Yeah,
always
so
wanted to see the Dactyls used in Jets.
right now that this is the only way to use them.
Amazing.
So you can go through both Lavos Go modes without the Jets of Time.
Interesting.
But yes, early flare, like within Luca's first two, along with frog squash. So we do have frog flare, and both of these runners have gone through the same things, except Marshana has gotten the bromide.
Interesting. So that's the only difference in what they've achieved at this point, and one screen it looks like.
Yes, well, that one screen would be that bromide get.
Yeah. Interesting. So we have a tight race still. Every decision's
It,
gonna matter from here on out.
and that is a chrono. It is the frog chrono. So if they find both pieces of the sword, they can go through Magus' castle.
Now the question is, will they both realize that woe is an option here?
And it's not a matter of realizing if it is an option, it's will they go there?
Yeah.
Because when you go through the epic time periods, it will stop there and say, hey, I'm available.
Fitz checking the trade options, and I don't think liking them enough to go for any of it.
Quick heal up, and then, yeah, I don't know whether these two runners do trade option or not.
Well, Free Fitz definitely looked, but didn't like what they found. I don't think there. It was mostly like there was some Tabin gear, but nothing else super great. One Free Fitz is going to take the time to unlock magic, while Marshana checks around for some items, restocks on medicines. It's gonna be really interesting to see where these people go from here. Where these runners decide to guess. It's interesting because this category doesn't have much of a competitive history yet. So there's still a lot up in the air about like what the fastest things are going to be, and it's going to be interesting to watch this category for a little bit, I think.
Oh, they did get that really good dig spot too. The rare one. So this dig spot has a chance to dig again into another area for another chest. But not waiting for the evil weevil to dig.
On the other side, we're going Hecarim. Now, both of these are pretty short dungeons, and since Chrono came with Lightning 2, or Luminaire, um, that definitely makes this a more appetizing option than maybe it would be if you didn't get Chrono on Dactyl.
Yeah, Chrono on Dactyl, and then going down here, you can essentially stop Nizbel. And he will only do a few things to you. And it's not that much. Whereas Marshana going through Hecarim's cave is looking for tech point stuff.
So this will be really interesting because I suspect Marshana will finish the dungeon first. Though it might be tight. 'Cause One Free Fits is definitely making really good progress through the dungeon itself. But I feel like that boss takes a little longer.
The boss does take longer because of the higher hit point range it has.
hmm So I think it depends if Marshana takes these battles or skips them. But if you're in this run, or if you're in this race, you're thinking about where you found the Jets of Time and everything, and you realize that both of these, like, your opponent definitely has it. And that
Oh
means
yeah.
there's like 3 or 4 checks available. You gotta feel a little bit of that worry that you're behind. That they found something that you haven't found yet.
Well, most races I always feel behind every time. And that just gets me to go a little bit faster. And then you're, of course, hoping to find the dungeon that has progression and hoping your opponent is finding dungeons that lead to dead ends.
Yeah, exactly. And then in my mind, it always makes me go, okay, I think my opponent's gonna go here. If I think they're faster than me, do I go where I think they went? That's the best option? Or do I go for something else in hopes I can skirt ahead, you know? It's a gamble. It's always fun to see
It is always a gamble.
stereo stereo bosses.
At times I go with which boss is going to give me more experience points that I can beat up right now.
Yeah, or which dungeon has better loot.
Yeah.
With these
Oh,
techs, like just so much damage, but they still have relatively little HP. So they're hitting for these huge damage numbers, and it's so tempting to push your luck. But
yeah, it is big damage that you're giving out, but you're a glass cannon is what it is, but
hmm
you're also not dealing enough damage at the same time. And Nizbel
ooh,
likes to do AoE ground attacks,
yeah, when he doesn't get zapped.
whereas Hekran will counterattack, letting you recover.
This is one of those situations right now in this race where like us being able to see both screens is completely changing the dynamic of these fights. Because they gotta feel like every time they have a character drop, they gotta feel like, well, that's the part that's gonna cost me the race. Literally, they know it's happening on the other side too.
The Mershana getting through Hekran, so can figure out what the key item is from there. And it is the trigger. So clone trigger just need that pendant now.
Well, now they're a pendant away. What if the pendant is in Tyranno? Or Reptide, I mean. That would be something. What is gonna be here for one free Fitz? It's a moonstone.
Oh no.
It's a
And
moonstone that
and
doesn't
you
help.
not at all, because you need the pendant to use it too.
Yeah. Oh no, Mershana's heading into Reptite Lair.
Oh, and she got an early dig and did not let it dig.
Unfortunate.
So where is Fitz gonna go now?
Dinodoro, maybe.
Well, Heckran Cave is a good spot to go for tech points.
It's true. It's true. If we get a perfect stereo and we get stereo bosses again, but the opposite stereo bosses.
And Mershana is doing some grinding on the evil weevils. That might be why she did not let it dig. And with those speed tabs, I would possibly think about putting them on my faster character like Chrono and going up Mount Woe, and then he would be able to do the Luminaire before the, I forget what the enemies are that do that, reduce your HP down to 1.
Oh, the apes.
No, not the apes, the Grimalkin things,
Oh yeah,
gargoyles,
yeah, the gargoyles.
because those give really good experience and tech points, and it's a more of a guaranteed thing to hit over the rubbles, as long as you're fast enough.
Going down. A brave sword. And I think we are going to see stereo bosses.
They're just covering the other person's track.
Exactly, and then they'll have to figure out where they're going next. So
Yeah.
they'll talk it out and.
Well, they do have Robo, so they could go through a desert.
Oh, you're right. Do they have a good enough water spell though? I don't think they've gotten a good enough water spell to be super confident in it.
I don't think they have a water spell yet at all.
Yeah, I think that would be the trouble with Desert right now. So you're really relying on that accuracy on characters that aren't known for their accuracy.
Well, maybe they might. Oh, Fitz has water too on his frog, so that would be good for that fight.
Yeah, that would get you through with this team.
It might be a little bit slow because you have to do physical attacks, but as long as you get that core out as well, it would be good.
Oh, we don't get it. We don't get
Oh, we
stereo
don't.
bosses. Cancel the whole thing. Thanks everyone for coming out. No, we still have a very close, very exciting race here.
It is very close. It's quite possibly going to come down to who checks which dungeon first before the other one.
It may. It depends what happens here. Marshana seems a little nervous heading into this fight. Really double checking that gear. And unfortunately, we know it's not going to pay off.
Yeah, the best thing that's coming out of this is the levels, the experience. And which one are you going to, Fitz? North of here or south? The desert. All right.
Desert is a fast check if you can kill the boss quickly, but if you can't, Dinodoro's gonna be faster. You know. Dinodoro's a
I'm
longer dungeon, but that you know exactly what to expect from the boss.
I'm not used to seeing that chest closed when I do this boss.
Yeah, your when you fight Ret Knight, he's like already a little bit sad because you've already stolen his loot. Oh, that's where I keep my lapis in case I get hurt.
Yep. That's
not
like
not very high damage coming out of Fitz. Cyclone doing decent damage, but this is gonna take a little while.
yeah, it's doing okay damage, but it's also damaging that middle.
Yeah.
This last one did not because it missed the middle but hit the other two.
Oh, well, there goes the head. He's gonna make it through. Marshana's Marshana's in a little bit of trouble, but I think they've got this too. Just gotta slow
Yeah.
down and breathe.
There goes the middle. So it's just the legs left. So as long as Fitz can deal with angry boss legs,
Yeah, because I think they're gonna stomp every 4 seconds, aren't they?
yeah.
And then his defense keeps going higher. Oh, heavy hits too. There goes Nisbel 1. We can finally get our moonstone. That moonstone could really come in handy once we have pendant and therefore go mode.
Right. We would also need another item too.
Yeah, exactly.
That dreamstone.
Yeah.
Or no, not the dreamstone, the um
You'd need
prism shard.
prism shard. Marshana grabbing that free heal. Get it every time you see this screen. Take a stop.
It's fast. No transitions, no fade outs. Go in.
Luca doesn't have to take off her hat like in the Mount Woe one.
So where's Marshana gonna go next?
I don't know. I thought stocking up on revives. That's a good idea, probably.
Always go on shopping trips.
Yes. Ret Knight fight is still happening. It is getting angry. This fight really can be more of a challenge than it needs to be just by that center bit getting taken out first or early. Marshana's taking a little time to do some shopping and selling.
And that boss had a flash blade for a frog behind him.
Well, yeah, he was gonna use that in the fight, but he couldn't get it out quick enough. Marshana thinking about where to go next, deciding to grab magic before heading on. As one free fits goes to check what desert holds. So one free fits is one check ahead, and we don't know if that's going to be a valuable check or not yet.
Any hopes for what it is?
I mean, I think the obvious hope would be for Pendant. I think Pendant is the most likely item to jump someone ahead right now. Because if you get Pendant, the rest of your run is mapped out for you. You know
Right.
exactly how the rest of the run is going to go. I mean, there's other options that could be handy.
Ooh, that silver stud looks nice.
Yeah, it does. Heroes Medal would be interesting.
Grand Leon might be interesting too.
Yeah,
Really good sword for frog.
something that makes character decisions important. Marshana take checking Dinodoro. I like that play. I,
Yeah,
I really do like that play. I think that's going to be a pretty quick dungeon if you've memorized the routing.
Mershana has done a lot with dungeon times,
Oh, that's great. I think
and
Dinodoro is a nice, safe play here.
it is a safe play. And with her timings, it's about 4 minutes.
It's pretty good timings.
It is really good.
Your timings are like 38 seconds, right?
I'm up. I'm at the boss, and I'm done. Yeah. And these chests are low tier chests, which at times I will pick them up because they'll have consumables. It is a Grand Leon.
Oh, you were right. Well, will we see Northern Ruins?
I doubt it.
I don't think we will.
Well, plus 2 speed and 10 power for Frog. And who is Frog again?
He, Frog is Chrono?
Yeah, Chrono. So, an
Oh
extra
no!
speedy Chrono.
One free fit, it's right on Mershana's tail. Even if
Oh,
Mershana's gamble pays off, the best she buys is being like neck and neck again.
well, to be fair, there's really not much left to check
Yeah.
other than whoa.
If woe's the answer and somebody could have gone earlier, that's going to be one of those gambles that you think about, and if you don't take it, it's going to be the one time that it would have paid off.
Oh, Mershana trying to come down here. I think she was trying to go down and loot some stuff and a little bit off target. Or she's trying to. No, she was just trying to skip the fight.
Mountains are nice. It's true.
It is very true.
I heard it
And I
from
like
someone
that.
I really trust.
And I like that backdrop of the mountains back there too.
Yes!
Oh, and I think I should make that disclaimer of I rolled the seed for them.
Well, we knew that when the Jets of Time was at snail stop.
Usually the Jets of Time are like you have to go to the past to get to the future to get to the Jets of Time. And then you can get go mode.
Now, are there any triple techs that are useful with these parties that they're running?
With Chrono, there's always a triple tech. Otherwise, with Frog, Luca, and Maro, I don't think so. But I don't use triple techs much myself. And I know there are 5 rocks. 2 of them
5
use
rocks, yep.
megas. 1 is all girls, so that's 3. And then like there's 1 or 2 with Frog.
Yeah, I'm bad at remembering which triple techs are rock based. But I know quite a few of the triple techs and like what party combinations, but I always forget which ones need rocks.
Yeah, I have basically a hyperlink on my phone for all of the techs, and I'll scroll down to the bottom where the triple techs are.
Dinodoro going well. 1 encounter, not even a full encounter, stands between these runners right now.
And Fitz getting Masa and Mune to sleep and then targeting 1 to keep the other one asleep for
Love
no
to see
attacks.
the old strategies getting pulled out with Hypno Wave or we used Puyozo Dance
Oh yeah.
for some of the like twin golems and stuff, or a couple of these. So it's always nice to see those old school strategies brought back and on display like this.
And Fitz has that Grant Leon, so Frog is going to do more physical damage right now.
Now, if this isn't what they need, does Mershana think about going desert?
She might. Instead of Woe. Or she might gamble on Woe instead of Desert.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because I don't know that there's a wrong answer here, given the knowledge that they each have.
Well, we know it has to be Woe now, because they've gone everywhere else.
Oh, and they are right
It,
neck and neck.
yeah, they are.
The bent
And
sword.
Woe it is.
Yeah, I think, well, it is. And woe has to lead to progression, but it's probably through a chain. You know what I mean? Like, it probably is behind a side quest. They're looking at desert. They're going to desert.
Well, desert is quicker.
It is. Desert's a good play here. It's just unfortunate that we happen to know one free fits is one dungeon ahead with one additional piece of information and a pretty powerful sword and eyes on Zeal. Heading right to woe.
So, how many chests on woe would you pick up? And that's going to be weighing on their minds when they're heading up there.
Yeah, I would grab the one up with the rubble. I would grab the two or three chests up there for sure. I wouldn't probably go up that first area. I would just go. I would go mostly for progression through the map, because I would be worried this whole time that my opponent went here as soon as it became available. Like
Yeah.
when you're at the point where it's your last check, there's going to be a part of you that's like, oh, Marshana already did woe. I'm behind now. So I think you skip all the chests you can. Any chest that costs you more than like 2 seconds, I think you skip it.
So, anything not in your direct path.
Yeah, outside of, like I said, that floating island, because it's pretty efficient. Because I think it's two chests and a rubble.
Yeah, two chests, and there's a encounter before that chain
Yep,
that you can just run from.
that's true.
And I think I would be spending speed tabs to make sure I can get into that menu quicker too, or to annihilate something.
Marshana taking on Ret Knight. Is Marshana better equipped for this fight? I think they probably are a little bit, but I don't know if there were major tech differences or stat differences.
I don't think that there is going to be much difference. It's just going to be luck of getting the hits. Then Marshana is going to take it safer with attacks to the head and legs instead of Cyclone.
Yeah. One free fits heading into the final Mud Beast fight here.
But I will say it is faster to be safe than it is to take a death and have to reset the whole fight.
Absolutely.
And
Fire 2.
250 Slurp cuts are good. And Fire 2 is a really good tech for Luca.
Yeah, so here I would run directly left. I maybe would take that Rebel. I would be looking at my tech list. And I would be looking at my tech list and deciding, like, is there a use for me to gain 100 tech points on the way up here? And frankly, if 1 or 150 doesn't get me anything that I have to have for Gaia, I'm skipping it.
Yeah, and I'd be looking at my tech list to see if I can't tech double something.
Exactly. If I thought that there was a chance, but like if I've got all the techs I'm gonna need the rest of the run, I'm probably not fighting extra rebels.
Yeah, I might take a couple gargoyle fights, but not the rubble fights.
Because the other side of this is like they've explored a lot of the seed that's available to them, but they really haven't explored anywhere with worthwhile loot yet. They're all their dungeons have been early game dungeons. So
Yeah, they
maybe it is worth grabbing a few extra chests on the way up.
Yeah, the latest game dungeon is desert that they both full cleared. And now, whoa, with the only other place was dig spots.
Yeah. I feel like WoW has to lead dependent. Like,
It
whether it's through a quest chain, because the other option would be it for it to go. Let's see, there was another option I thought of earlier that it could be.
There are no other key
Oh,
item
you're right.
spots.
You're right. It does have to lead.
Yeah,
It, maybe it'll be
somehow.
Thomas Pop.
It either has to be here to get to the future to get everything else, or it has to lead through a chain to get to pendant. But somehow we have to get pendant.
It's Prism Shard, and Prism Shard is pendant. With nobody going there because Moonstone can't be turned in yet.
Right.
Yeah, one free fits having kind of the right idea here, I think. I didn't know you
Just
could skip that
avoiding.
on the bottom.
Yeah, I
I always
always
use the
forget
top.
how to skip that one fight.
Yeah, I always use the top for it. That's interesting.
I think bottom is better because you're heading down instead of backtracking that little bit. And this fight I would not be taking at all because of the death counter that the Bantam Ibs do, which is
Yeah.
drop them. So you have to waste 2 attacks. This fight I
And
would probably take out. 4 gargoyles gives decent tech and experience points.
yeah, as long as you don't get killed, like they're losing characters already.
Yeah.
They can hit
And
hard.
like that would be circumvented with using speed tabs.
That's true.
And now Maro Luca is not going to get the experience from this fight. But did pick up lightning too.
Very nice. Marshana heading to Mount Woe. Very linear seed. Because it seems like both go modes are behind Pendant. Probably.
Well, they all have to be
Yeah, they
behind
have to be.
pendant now.
I was trying to think, in the old logic, the other half of the sword could be behind, like, Hero's Medal here. But,
Th-
but no, that doesn't actually work, because,
No, that doesn't
no.
now.
You couldn't have Dreamstone. So yeah, we have a very linear seed that has actually left Woe available for a while, but it shows what a niche pick it is for a lot of runners. On like a lot of runners, this is going to be their last check. This is going to be the last place they go. But if you get good at this dungeon, sometimes it can be worth taking a chance on.
Yeah, have at least one character that is 13, 14 speed. They're going to go first before the enemies. And if they can do a screen clear, you're golden and you're going to just level up like crazy on your way up.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon if I'm like 2 or 3 techs into my tree, Mount Woe with good tech doubling from Rebels, it's not uncommon for it to finish off all the techs I need to learn by the end of the game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's times where I would unlock magic after Magus Castle and be having almost every tech from the grind spot. So if you know how to tech double and where to fight, you can go through your whole tech tree quick. So Mershana is starting as Fitz is almost to the top. And there's
Yeah.
prism specs.
Maintaining that lead of about one dungeon, a couple screens of a big dungeon.
The last chest had prism specs.
A nice find, but it's also a find that you know your opponent's going to run across.
Right. So let's see if Mershana picks up any chests that Fitz did not pick up.
Well, Fitz definitely missed a couple skips, and Marshana had missed a couple skips in some areas, so it's going to be interesting to see, because this is not an area a lot of runners practice very often.
Yeah, the only people that really practice it for Ice Age or have done Ice Age seeds.
Yeah.
And this chest that Mershana is getting, one free Fitz did not get. And there are some items that can give you that extra boost to surpass everyone else.
Yeah, like a dash ring right now. Make a huge difference. Put a dash ring on Luca.
Dash ring, more prism specs. Very powerful consumables can help you out too.
Now let's see if the game's going to be kind and let Marshana out. And it is not.
No. Well, she got one elixir from it.
And taking the run, Marshana says, I have a feeling I'm behind. I need to race through this dungeon. I need to do it safely. I need to grab the loot that's on the way.
And Giga Gaia dropping one mega elixir.
Oh, very nice. If that's pendant and he's given a mega elixir for the road, that would be so helpful.
Hero metal.
I told you it was hero metal. This is now Epoch Fail Legacy of Cyrus.
And I think Epoch Fail could work in Legacy of Cyrus. And you would need to get the Jets of Time to finish it. No. And not fighting it. It is a frog. And that is a chrono frog. And the chain continues with Toma's pop to get into Giant's Claw. C just says, here's some more stuff. Go to this other dungeon. And more chests that one free fits did not pick up.
I'm waiting for them, like at one of these key item checks, it's just going to be like a note on paper. And it's going to be like, hey, I left the pendant at the top of Tyranno Lair. Go get it there.
That amulet is a good find. Either Go mode could use that amulet. And more items.
Yeah, Marshana coming down for the extra items here. Might be a bit much. It's gonna push her a little bit further behind. But you also, in the race scenario, you don't know how you're stacking up. You know, you're
Right.
running off flawed info.
Yeah, and any one of those could be something that pushes you to be a little bit faster too. And she's taking extra fights, so she's going to be leveled up a little bit more as well. Average of 24 for Fitz right now and 21 for Mershana. 22 Mershana.
Okay, it's a couple levels difference, and that's just the difference from what they've gotten on WoW.
Well, I did not see that was a haste helm in that other chest.
Very nice. As one free Fitz continues through Giant Claw, hopefully looking for that pendant. Not hoping for Prism Shard.
Yeah.
I think Prism Shard is the only other thing it could be here, right? It's either pendant or Prism Shard.
I believe that is it right now.
And if it's Prism Shard, that would be so upsetting.
And it's a blue rock in here too. Yeah, with duplicate characters, I do not really go out and get rocks.
I could see why. Hurricane.
For that Magus that might be in the seed.
They started with a Magus. Oh, but it wasn't actually a Magus.
Right.
I see. Everyone, let me know in chat, who's your favorite boss and why in Chrono Trigger? I know I've asked you, Aku, and I can't remember if you said Dragon Tank?
No, I don't think I really have a favorite boss.
Dragon Tank was always the point I told my friends, like, play the game until you finish Dragon Tank, and if you didn't like it up to that point, you're probably not going to. But, like, Dragon Tank's the first fight that you really have to like really think about what you're doing the whole time. Yeah, the goofiness of the Aussie fight. I like the Aussie fights too.
I might say Son of Sun just because that's a interesting take on a boss fight.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a roulette boss almost. Like, yeah, that's a really interesting one.
And if you're not prepared for it, it can get away from you really fast too.
That's how I always felt about Mother Brain in casual play. Because, like, if you don't know the perfect strategy for Mother Brain, like, you just hit with an AoE like you do all the other bosses, and then you kill all those monitors, and then she starts hitting you for over 1,000 damage. Like, and you just realize, like, oh, I've done this to myself. I have to just play different.
And no one ever uses the crisis arm in a casual play.
No.
Well, it doesn't help that it's one of those things where you have to research and look at it and research some more to figure out how it works.
Yeah. And continuing through this linear race seed as Marshana turns in Thomas Pop and starts heading into that. Into Giant's Claw, right as one free fits finishes and is either going to get the dreaded or Prism Shard or the Pendant!
Yay, go mode.
Go mode! I think Marshana's in a little trouble.
Now, do you open up sealed chests with that pendant for better gear, or do you go searching for a different go mode even?
That's a great question. I don't go searching for a different go mode. Um, I do grab the sealed chest, but maybe not in Arisdome.
Yeah, the Arisdome ones, it's also a key item get.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe I would. Maybe I would do Eris, and only if Eris led to the other go mode would I take it. Maybe I would do that. But at an hour and 16 minutes with this number of key item checks, I'm feeling behind, I think.
Yeah, usually I'm in go mode about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, but also the side of like you picked Woe last. You have to feel like somebody could have done it earlier. So I would want to grab the sealed chest, but maybe I wouldn't feel like I had time.
Right.
But I think I would grab them, and I would go through Eris. And if I'm wrong, it costs me 10 minutes.
Yeah, when you have no items for the nicer go mode in prehistory and you're one away from Magus Castle go mode, I think I would be going up the Zeal ending myself.
Yeah, but if you did get... Oh, I guess you'd need Dreamstone and Ruby Knife. Yeah, then no, I don't think I would go for it. I'm sorry. For some reason I thought we had one of those.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not fishing for Magus Castle go mode.
no. Like, even though I can go through Magus Castle fast,
Yeah.
I'd rather not go through it.
I'd rather get the XP from Black Omen.
Yeah.
I'd rather, yeah, especially with these. Well, I don't know with these teams. How
Yeah.
do you feel tech wise with these teams?
Well, you got Flare, you got Antipode 2 and 3.
But what do you have for Zeal?
Antipode 2.
Yeah,
And Frog can heal. You got a Silver Stud, because you picked that up along the way. That could go on Luca. And it would just be Zeal that would be the tough one.
yeah, but Zeal would be quite the challenge because Antipode 2 will get you through it, but with those characters, are you going to be fast enough to get through it safely? Although we're finding some blue vests all over, all over Giant's Claw, so maybe we're fine.
Yeah, you just have to hope for like prism dresses along the way too.
Always remember in the screen Marshana's at, you can go around those pillars and dodge that fight.
The left one.
Yeah, that left pillar. This game has a real thing about like walking around pillars to not not have fights. Look at Magus's castle. And right there, that room, I'm checking my techs and I'm seeing if I'm tech doubling or if I can get myself close to tech doubling. I'll do that before I head into the rest of this level. Because those two rubbles, that's a lot of tech points. It's 100 tech points between them.
Yeah, 50 tech points each, and if you can double one of them even, that's 50 and 50.
Especially if you're one tech away from a really good dual tech. Like, say, you would get Blaze Kick or Fire Sword 2 right before this fight. Like, obviously, that's going to make that fight safer. The quicker you can do damage, the safer this fight is. Because it's just a race. It's a race against an enemy with pretty high HP.
Speed belt and blackmail. Blackmail is something else really good for Omen.
Yeah, and for Zeal, because her auto attacks are Dark Element. Her lasers.
Yeah. And she also does that shadow element before that ultimate water one.
Oh, Dark Gears.
Yeah.
Well, the Chancellor is shocked. He never sees that coming.
Well, we're going to be seeing some of the chests at least in the future.
Oh, a dash ring and a speed belt.
So many speed accessories.
Wow. That's so worth it.
It is.
Yeah, so I think these are like most players are going to grab these chests. Eris is the one that I think most people are going to skip it.
And I believe you are right with that.
It's also the highest tier. It's the same tier as Mount Woe chests and Black Omen chests.
Yeah.
picking up the Sunstone to go get the piece of armor, I guess, from
That
Tabard.
helm, yeah,
Or the
it's a
helm.
helmet.
You're right.
And that is not bad to check out.
No, it didn't cost that much time to do that. Very interesting.
Especially if it's something that gives status protection other than Gloomhelm.
Oh, it's a vigil hat. Whatever Aku says is what's going to happen. It's very clear to me. Aku is the new prophet of Zeal.
Speed tab out of a chest. And I think that's all of the chests we're going to see from Fitz.
Yeah, I think Fitz is just going to head to end. Head to But now, out of all the dungeons in this entire game, Aku, which dungeon has the greatest amount of time save from knowing skips and knowledge? Wouldn't you say it's Black Omen?
Yeah,
Like a really good omen versus an okay omen is like a half an hour difference.
it is a huge difference. And
So,
running from a lot of things makes a big difference too.
and no, you have to know where, how strong you need to be for those fights, because if you skip too many fights, you can put yourself in a really bad spot. But if you're taking too many fights, every fight you take that your opponent skips is time that they're making up against you. So there's still a lot of time to be gained or lost in this race. I will say for the team you're working with here, pretty incredible gear all of a sudden for this team. Like that dash ring goes a huge way on on how strong some of these characters are hitting.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you can hit first really, really hard. And I never turned that first Poyozo doll into a tree.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Wow, very well done. Made that look
That is well
easy.
done.
Wow. One free Fitz.
Oh.
Nailing most of these skips.
And then running into this fight.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes.
It does.
Hugging that right wall, grabbing the lapis. A pretty well executed Death's Peak, except just going a little bit too low there. I keep giving commentators curse.
And Mershana just destroying Dragon Tank in one fell swoop. Like, hi, here's an attack. Bye.
Me and New Game Plus.
Yes. And sometimes leveling up or having more levels can be the difference too with time. Because
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you're getting through the fights in fewer attacks, just getting done sooner with boss fights.
Marshana also deciding to make the choice we both agreed with of grabbing at least this room and probably the next room of sealed chests. They're
Yeah,
right
well,
here. They're gonna take about 10 seconds to grab.
yeah, you're right here. It might have some amazing stuff. Also, in this dome, you have that heal spot.
Yeah, that Enertron's available.
And with lava spawn and these characters, you don't have too many single targeting attacks.
No, you really don't. But this is the team that you had available, and this is the team that I mean, if you can't get through Lavo's spawn, Zeal's gonna be just as tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, with Zeal, you can at least use Fire Sword too.
And Antipode too. You're
Yeah,
right, because those are not options that you can use against Lavos Shell unless you really like counterattacks.
yeah, yeah, and you could use like Fire Sword too and heal like right afterwards.
That's true, and I've seen some interesting brave strategies using AOE's in this fight. But it is a gamble.
It is, and with Confused dealing 1,000 at at the end is a really good thing as well.
Yeah, confused might be a might lead to a good answer for Zeal too, compared to the team they were running with earlier. So I actually really like that swap.
Yeah, I'd be using Fire Sword too a lot.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Chrono and Luca would be my guaranteed ins, and then my third probably would be Frog for the heal.
Nova
Nova armor,
armor
that's status protection on a
and a
male.
speed belt. All the speed. If only speed
And
also helped your over or your running speed. That would be awesome. Get on it, pseudo arc. I'm just kidding.
lead character having star speed
You're
for
just
like
like sprinting.
1.5
Yeah,
speed on overworld.
exactly. Like having running shoes in Zelda.
Yeah,
Ooh, a rainbow.
that is good for Chrono. And Fitz does not have that.
Interesting. Taking advantage of the video I made for early pendant Legacy Osiris starts, I think is where Marshana learned this.
Yeah, so Marshana should be dealing more damage with Chrono.
But every moment that uh, that Marshana is not headed up Death's Peak is further behind. I mean, it would be tough to make up this amount of time in damage alone.
It is going to be tough.
But Mershana may also be going off the idea 1 or 2 really nice loot drops here.
You already got that one, Marshana.
Yeah, Mershana not able to hear us, but just to be clear. You know, going back through that portal to get that chest costs as much time as the opening cutscene. 40 seconds.
Oh, wow.
I timed it one day because we used to argue about if it was worth it or not. If you like get to the future and immediately go back through and through all the animations, 40 seconds by the time you come out the other side for one
Yeah.
chest.
And that green dream means she can be a little bit more reckless.
Yes. Now that is something that could help make up some time with some gambling.
Put that green dream on Chrono because he has life or should have life or
Yeah.
will be eventually getting life.
Yeah, then if Hexagon Mist finishes, Chrono comes up, he brings a friend up, they fire sword too. And if you guys like the race we're doing tonight, leave us a follow. We do quite a few races on this channel. This is the official Jets of Time channel. And we're going to be having some organized play events coming up as well. So if you want to keep up with those, the easiest ways are going to be either following or joining the Discord. We'd love to have you. So if you're interested in playing, we are always getting new players up and going in the game, teaching them, helping them out in their streams. We love having more people involved.
And also give our racers a follow too.
And special thanks to Aku for giving up his time to help me out today as well. And Rhythrix, both of them coming out to help me get this underway tonight. So as one free fits continues through the panels that are dropping nothing of value.
Yeah, and right now, with the levels that they're at, I would be taking as few fights as possible.
Oh yeah, run through this place.
And with these boss orbs, sometimes it is faster to just get in and run from the fight. Otherwise, you're waiting and waiting and waiting.
Mershana beginning Death's Peak with the new here.
Well, we will see how much more powerful Marshana is with that sword and some other stuff she got.
I bet there are some really fun combinations of flags you could do with Epoch Fail. Because it seems like it takes the beginning and it just gives you less for free. It makes you work for a few of the things you would normally kind of just take for granted.
With boss rando, it gets really interesting, especially if you decide to go to Heckran's cave early and get stuck on that island until you get through Heckran's cave. Yeah, there's no way back until you get through it right now.
Oh, I see. So if you can't beat the boss there, you're soft locked?
Yes, it happened to me. That was fun figuring that one out.
I wonder if you could add an NPC that would just warp you home or something. Like using
Pseudo.
the events for like the ferry.
Yeah, Pseudo was watching that race and saw what happened and is thinking of ways of making that happen so you can return.
That's one thing that's really nice in this community is like there's so much good hard work going on to continue making this a better and better experience for the players and the runners and everybody. So that's just something really nice to see in the Jets of Time community. Silver stud.
Another haste helm also.
Nothing else to write home about, but let's see what this shop might have. Ooh, mega elixirs. I'm definitely leaving with one or two of those, depending how much gold I can scrounge up. But the speed belts are going, the dash rings staying, but the speed belts can go, and everything else that's character specific that I'm not using, it's going to this merchant.
Yep.
This merchant is about to have a chrono sword store.
And anything for Magus is gone too.
Yeah.
And that Vedic blade is good for Fitz, since that's going to be his strongest sword for Chrono.
Mershana making quick work of Death's Peak. Hopefully not slipping on the ledge here. This is one of the spots that new players can struggle a little bit because building that muscle memory and nailing it first try every time can be pretty tricky.
Yeah, and this is one of those spots where I will say just go up, run through several times, like make a save state, run through several times, get that muscle memory in.
Yeah. Once you get the muscle memory, it doesn't leave. Like you just once you can do it, 10 times in a row, you'll be good. And for this right here on that first set of stairs, just start holding up and right together at like an equal amount, just up and right, and it'll always get you out of the way of that enemy and set you up to grab that chest.
And each time you fail, you can practice that enemy skip too.
Yeah, exactly. She made it through and she got the Mega Blast. Finding a good spot in the gap of enemies. Careful, those enemies do take a second after they disappear for their hitbox to disappear. You can run into them when they disappear.
Oh, and I should work on my list of bosses for Boss Rando for that last Poyozo doll to kind of tell you what boss is there through a riddle. Like how it normally says push the shell, climb the shell, have it say something else.
Oh, that'd be cool.
push the skeleton, climb the skeleton.
Yeah, give you just a hair of info.
Yeah, like not much, but something.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah, that would only be implemented in boss rando. Ooh, a crit doing 1,000 points of damage.
Yeah, Fitz is going to be able to just sprint through the rest of this dungeon. There. Now here, if you're going to wait for the eyeballs, you might as well move into them. Your characters, like moving into an NPC, it makes their events run quicker. So it's still random when they close their eyes, but you should be able to make it happen faster. Is the idea.
Yeah. Or just run into it, start the
Yep.
battle, and run.
I always gauge it to be an average of about 10 seconds to run from that, get into and run from that eyeball fight. So, it is worth keeping that in mind. Is this going to take me more than 10 seconds?
Yeah,
And so I usually try for like 2 or 3 seconds, and if it doesn't happen by then, I take the fight. When Marshana begins the cutscene to enter the Black Omen, and Free Fitz grabs another Vigil hat.
yeah, I think we have enough status protection.
We have
between
2
all of the
haste
characters.
helms.
Yeah, Fitz found another haste helm. And I think
This loot is wild.
it is wild. And I don't know what I would be doing with the gear.
I'd be doing full speed and damage. I'd be dash belt on Luca with prism specs. Or gold stud so she could flare all day. With haste
Yeah,
helm.
I think I would be putting prism specs on Luca and just putting speed tabs on her, giving her the
Yeah.
haste helm, and just say flare everything. I will figure
Oh,
out the elixirs later.
another dash ring. Dash ring your whole party.
The only problem with dash rings is it's an accessory slot.
Yeah.
And my go-to is glass cannon, where I'm dealing incredible damage, and I'm saying, please do not hit me.
I'm always going to want a Chrono Cross mode for Chrono Trigger where it would give you 3 accessory slots.
Oh, I would so break that.
Or 2 accessory slots even would just
Yeah.
be so fun to mess with.
Yeah, even 2 accessory slots, I would find a way to break it.
Dash ring, dash ring.
Prism spec, prism spec.
Heroes Metal Robo Ribbon. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do that, but
Well, Heroes Metal prism spec is prism spec twice.
yeah. This mutant fight can be a real problem, but we're high enough level that I don't think it will be this time, because Frog Flare is going to get you through everything up till Zeal, except Elder Lavos.
Yeah, I don't think Frog Flare actually does much more than Flare, because the Frog Squash is physical damage.
Yeah, but it's 1.5 flare damage, like right off the bat.
Hopefully Fitz does a regular flare, yes.
Yeah, let's see.
So that was 2,200 with Frog Flare.
Oh, okay.
So it is a little bit more, but not by too much.
Yeah. Well, about 500.
Yeah.
Very clean fight, though. Fitz was definitely in charge of it.
Right now, just make sure you have plenty of ethers to flare everything in your path.
Yeah. And make sure you bought enough revives before you come in here.
It revives for the end.
First elevator 0.
And I really do like that it is seeded for the elevator fight, so Mershana will also get 0. And every fight on this screen that Fitz is in is not runnable from. You have to fight them all. But you can skip this one fight.
Yep. This bat skip. Marshana trying to rush through everything. Not really looking for a fight from any of these. And frankly, making pretty good progress on that. Does hit that third encounter, though.
Oh, almost skipped this fight. The Metal
Yeah.
Butte fight.
I have a little bit of trouble with that skip sometimes. It can be a
I
tricky one.
do too. It is very tight.
It penalizes you for being fast or slow.
Yeah, I think I'm too fast for it.
Fitz steadily in control of this race right now. But keep in mind, Fitz does not know that. These racers have no way of knowing where each other are.
There's still that great equalizer that is Zeal.
Yes, there is. And that is a multi-part boss fight that can be really punishing.
And each mutant fight gets stronger. This is the last one.
Yeah, this is the dodgeball mutant, we call him. Because he plays dodgeball and nobody has a good time. Well, I guess he does.
Yeah, he does.
Marshana showing off their knowledge of these skips throughout this dungeon. Like, really nailing Black Omen skips here.
There's a crisis arm for that
Yeah.
Robo.
Oh, another haste helm. Gotta be excited about that.
Always. Always excited about seeing a haste helm. Oh, Fitz is doing the triple tech.
34, 34. That's not a bad amount of damage.
No, it's not. It is.
But I
It
think
is.
Flare's gonna do more than 3/4 of that, or more than 1/3 of that. Yep, 2,500. Just these fights from One Free Fits are so calculated. Like they switch strategy, or he switches strategies right before, like for the finish. Like he's doing the triple text, he's doing the dual text, and then he knows he's one hit away, switches to the single tech. Like that's calculated. Because that's been most of the boss fights they've had this game. So that's really impressive.
I think he's showing off different techs too.
Yeah, he's
Like
pulling techs
here's
out that most runners aren't going to utilize properly.
or utilize at all.
Yeah,
Because like me, I'd be flaring and luminaring that whole fight.
just goes to show there's always a reason to look at different methods because sometimes somebody can have something there. But it's been very calculated and very impressive to watch. Both of these runners have done very well so far. I mean, we're less than 2 hours in, and a really fast one of these is finishing about now.
Yeah.
So like,
Actually, Fitz is having a really good time right now. Like one of my faster finishes is still a little over 2 hours.
okay, so yeah, I mean a 2 hour seed would be incredible. Um, so I want to make it clear that both of these runners are having an excellent run. I mean, this was a very linear seed that it was one of the least picked options that happened to lead to progress. Marshana did decide to take that fight, perhaps for the hyper ether.
Yeah, and hyper ether is a good thing to get. You you can save that silver stutter and just not use it and have something to give you more speed or more damage instead.
Frog critting for 1126.
Yeah, and that Vedic blade from the sword before is dealing about 100 more
Calculated.
damage per hit with a confuse.
The Fire 1 finish. As One Free Fits, backtracks, grabs that save point before this Elder Lavos spawn fight. Marshana continuing through Black Omen, getting to the goons and eyeballs, and then we'll be heading into the same mutant Elder spawn. Oh no, Elder spawn's gone for Fits.
Yeah,
We just
Fitz
finished that
just
fight.
finished that one. Yeah, I usually do not backtrack for this one. I just go forward into the panel fight and then use that save spot.
Marshana successfully getting past this turret. Oh no!
Oh,
Almost getting stuck by that chest for too long.
but coming out with that vigil hat and no encounter.
Yep. Right at 2 hours for Fitz's in-game time. Heading into the Zeal Gauntlet. As Marshana still has a little bit further to go, and there are a lot of similar looking rooms in the Black Omen, so this is one of the areas of the game that new players tend to need to practice quite a bit to get down all the skips. But it does
And
pay
that
off greatly.
and that dark helm that Marshana got, Fitz skipped over.
There's a good lineup from Marshana, getting past all of that without issue. As she's going to head into the first mutant fight. And one free Fitz, finishing off Zeal 1 here shortly. There it is. So did we do menu glitch?
I did put that in there.
The free menu glitch?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent to know.
So if there looks to be something weird going on, it's because of the free menu glitch.
Now we head into Mammon Machine. A much different boss than it once was.
Yeah, this boss can be a pain. All
Free
depending on how much damage you deal to it.
Free Fritz looks or Free Fitz looks like they're going with the strategy of let's hit it once, see how much damage we're doing. Oh, we're not gonna win this race. Let's wait. That's a hard hitting counter though.
It is always hard hitting. And I think right now I would have put on haste helms for all of my peoples.
Yeah, I mean if you've got them, I mean speed is so valuable in this game. Like it's hard to look at other stats and be like, wow, it's something else is worth more than +3 speed, or doubling your speed essentially, which is what haste does. Uh, I mean, speed is like the #1 way to increase your damage if you have the other resources to pay. You know,
Yeah,
the
after the
MP.
mutant fight and the lava spawn fight, you don't need status protection anymore.
No. Oh, another dash ring falling off the mutant for Marshana.
And a speed tap fell off of it too.
It's a fast seed.
Yeah.
One free Fitz sitting at a 202.23 heading into this final battle. And if things go well, I mean, this could be a sub 210 with good execution. And I mean, look at that damage. That's 3,500 damage from one dual tech. Then you let Frog jump in there too. I mean, that's almost 5k damage.
Yeah, that is very close to 5k.
So, I mean, I don't see how this gets out of control here. I think one free Fitz went in with like equipment and loadouts they were comfortable with, and I think they've got this well under control.
Just gotta get that damage
Mm-hmm.
threshold.
So you can avoid that hexagon mist. And this should
Lead,
knock into Halation.
yeah, lead into that halation with Mega Elixir.
Yep, there goes the Halation. 3 Mega Elixirs. Even if you get MP busted, it's not the end of the world here.
Yeah, an MP buster will always hit that person in spot 1. So having Luca and Chrono on opposite sides, make sure they can get the Fire Sword 2 off every time.
Interesting.
And then a quick Hyper Ether on self. Let those two just go ham on Zeal.
Yeah, I mean, at 3,500 damage, this is going to be a short fight. I think we're one more of those away. Maybe 2
Yeah,
attacks.
I think it's just one more because it's a little over a third with each one. And she does halation after 10,000 points of damage.
Yep.
Okay.
There it is. The finish by 1 free Fitz.
Get your GGs in chat for 1 free Fitz.
Yeah, absolutely. What a good showing for their race day. Well, for a main feature here, like a showcase race. That was a really strong finish and a really good time.
Yes, it was.
So we'll see as they finish up here if one free Fitz wants to join us in chat here. But what a strong finish as Mershana continues through the second mutant fight here. The really troublesome one sometimes.
And another thing with doing these restreams like this is everyone can see different ways of doing things.
Yeah, it's a really good way to find out what's good, um, what areas maybe we can save more time in, and you can like even as a racer, you finish your race, you go back and you rewatch the race after, you'll see like what people did different at the beginning or what choices they made that maybe helped them. That goes such a long way in helping you learn this game. Yeah, I mean, a 2:04:58. I mean, that's an impressive time. You said
Yes, that
one of your
is.
best runs was about a 2:05, right?
Yeah.
So very impressive time.
Yeah, and that is with taking death like party wipes at the last boss too.
As Marshana enters the Elder Lavos spawn.
And with a hasted Chrono and hasted Luca. And that sword that she's using is dealing much more damage. And I think haste with prism spec. And there goes down Elder Lava Spawn.
And all the dual techs.
Yep.
Just such a good performance from both of the runners tonight.
Then Mershana finishing this up. The more times you can finish the final bosses, the easier they become.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Finish your seeds. When you're new, finish them all. We're going to bring Fitz in and talk about the seed a little bit here. So welcome, one free Fitz.
Hello, hello.
How was that? How did you feel about your run?
That was fun. I thought that it was gonna go like really fast because I had a couple of the go mode, but then I had I don't know. Yeah, I think I missed some skips, but overall, just felt like I was cruising through, having a good time.
Yeah, what'd you think about forced woe last check? Was there any part of you that thought about going earlier?
Um, yeah, I did. I think consider that, but
It was interesting because you always had a few different options. Like every time you came to a decision point, you had a couple options at least. And it was really interesting because you and Mershana were making some of the same decisions and some different ones. Like you went to Reptite and she went to Hecarim, and then you swapped and you did the opposite, but you did the bosses almost at the same time. So it was a really close race for a good long chunk of it. But it's always interesting because like throughout the race, did you feel like you were ahead, or how did you feel like time wise? Like because I know this is like a really good time that you set today. So were
oh yeah,
you
I think
confident you
it's
were ahead?
yeah. I mean, I think it's one of my best for this mode, but I didn't really feel like I felt I was ahead at any time, so I kind of always felt like I needed to press, and at a certain point, plus having to go to woe, felt pretty good about my levels and power overall. So, yeah, you know, it's always hard to tell when you're racing and you can't see the other people, but I did feel like it was close and I was going fast, and it didn't really hit any walls, so I knew my time was going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. We thought it was one of the biggest divergences you made is you did desert significantly earlier than Marshana did, and you got the Grand Leon for that. And so we were wondering how much that was going to help you, but there were definitely a few fights where you got off pretty solid damage from having it.
Yeah, it was. I could see it was not a need, but it was definitely nice to have in a couple before I had any good physical text for Frog. Just being able to swing it and do some good damage.
And then I noticed every boss in Death's Peak and Black Omen, it seemed like you had their HPs like perfectly calculated. Like you finished because you were doing like one of the mutant fights, you were hitting with like a triple tech like every time, and then you, as soon as Luca came up, you had her use Fire 1 and finish it off or something like that. And you did that in like 2 or 3 of those bosses. I just thought that was really impressive. Just
Yeah, I wish I could say that was like fully intentional. Like it was a little bit in the head. I think with Luca too, it was just like on some of the single targets, like she only had so much she could do, and so
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, there were a couple times I was like, oh, I hope this is enough. I don't want another round.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. As Marshana enters the Zeal fight, Zeal 2, to hopefully finish this run strong at probably about, I mean, sub 220 is still very respectable in this mode. So what are some things that are in this category that you have to think about that you don't necessarily have to think about in a normal race flags situation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously having to walk kind of limits some of those initial checks that are available, and I got so used to taking the market fight to get like early experience in a tech that I went to Denendoro to take that first fight, which is like a little bit could be a little bit risky, and so there's some interesting early shopping decisions around.
So
Do
what?
I do,
Yeah,
save
what was
money for
interesting
stuff, or
is you both did something that made perfect sense to Aku and I, where you both picked up the frog for sword, or the sword for frog, and then you both used your first crit with frog, and you got the miss, and then the next time it ignored the extra crit damage, and it got you. It happened to both of you in identical ways. And I don't know. We're gonna look into it, but like that should have one shot just by the math. Like, because then you crit the next time for 260.
I think what happened, and because the menu was like over Frog at that point too, is I think because he was Chaos and he crit with Chaos status.
Oh, and that cuts his damage.
Yeah, so I think that's what, because I had the same reaction when I saw it. I was like, oh, well, this will kill him at least. Like, that's cool. And then it was like, oh, nope, it didn't happen. So
There is the finish from Mershana.
yeah, GG's, congrats.
Thank you.
How did you feel about that race?
Well, I certainly liked having all of those haste helms and having those prism specs and the rainbow and all that. Like, it felt really good tromping on her face at the end there.
I believe
But I
it.
will admit that having to go to Woe and then the Giant's Claw to get the pendant was a bit...
The worst part about that is I called it. So I said it's gonna be Woe, and it's gonna be Heroes Metal or Toma's Pop.
Yeah,
It
somewhere
was
in
Heroes Metal, right? It was Woe to Heroes Metal.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
yeah.
I mean, at least we didn't have to walk across both of the labs to get over to unlock magic or anything silly like that. But
Yeah,
Right.
Aku giving you the only Epoch fail seed where the first thing the game does is fix the Epoch for you.
right, right. It's a little bit like, dang, I shouldn't have bought that weapon, but oh well, it's okay.
Well, and then we were just talking about this strange thing that happened with the chaos and everything with Frog at the beginning. It happened to both of you where Frog didn't crit for enough and then he got chaosed. And then
Oh
it
yeah.
like spiraled a little bit from there and then you both finished it. But it happened like exactly the same to both of you. Because it should have just one shot the bird. So
But sometimes it doesn't, and that's how it goes. And that's okay. Yeah, I was a little worried about Luca like dying, but then it was fine. I was like, it's okay. Wasn't too worried about it. But yeah, and I'd considered going to Woe partway through like digging for pendant, and I was like, maybe it's on Woe. And then now if like I know that if I had gone to Woe and it had been Heroes Metal to Atoma's Pop, I would have gone and cleared the other things before I went to Giant's Claw. So it ended up being the same time either way. Um,
yeah, I get that. So, what would you say were some things you had to think about in this category or this flag set that you wouldn't necessarily normally think about?
I feel like the intro, the starting routing's a little bit different. And I'm still optimizing that. I think I'm still debating whether it's worth going to Denadoro at the beginning because you have to walk all the way down and use the epoch and walk all the way back. It does give you a chance to check the snail shop, but even if I was going to buy what's at snail shop, I'm still going to go to Cathedral. I'm still going to clear out the bridge because you just need that access to be able to move around in this one. So I'm kind of debating if maybe in this category I should go back to doing the 2 fights in the 680 forest, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think there's still plenty of like area to play around with those. Like to play around with different starts. Like a few months ago I played around with a start where you you go into the Nagaet fight in the cathedral as if you're not going to get an AoE. So you just go in with whatever you have. You buy a weapon, you go in, and then you could leave with your third party member and get 2 techs on everybody from Dinodoro
Oh,
or
interesting.
something like
Yeah.
that. But Ku actually brought up during this race that you might be able to do kind of a combination of what Fitz did, where Fitz went in, got the cathedral character, and then went to bridge. And we were
Mhm.
thinking those bridge fights, those first 2 Aussie fights with the skeletons, might be a good grind if you're confident you'll be able to beat Zombor after.
Right. Right.
And would get
Um,
all 3 of your characters their techs, I think. Which
that's true. Fritz, do you go and do the bromide pickup in Cathedral?
On this one, I only got the character, and then I left after
yeah,
that.
and you went in and got the bromide, but we
Yeah.
wondered because I also played around with going to the bromide room, and I think that leaves like your third character like a couple tech points short of their second tech or something like that. But I don't
Yeah,
know. There's
they
room
got
to
hurt
play
pretty bad
around.
from the bridge. I agree because I did the first 2 with the Denadoro fight with the 2, went to Cathedral, got bromide, and then went to bridge after that, and I believe I got the second text at that point on the third character. I'm wondering if maybe having Magus or not might affect this, right? So you might want to go do Denadoro and then do that same routing of fights. Um, or not.
Yeah,
I'd
Magus
still probably
is
do Forest if I didn't have Magus, but I'm still thinking about that.
yeah, Magus is weird where you need 50 tech points for his first tech.
Yeah, and I think, and Aki, you probably know this. Denadoro plus Naga plus Bromide plus bridge fights would give you his first tech, right?
I
Aku calculating.
I do not think that's quite enough because I've gone all the way back to Yakra and then haven't gone
No, you can
Magus' first tech until after Bridge.
you can
Oof.
do Cathedral into Hecarim, I think, and barely get Magus's first tech. Like it's quite
Yeah.
a
Right,
bit.
but with Jets with on this mode, you want to be sure you can clear Hecarim before you go over.
That's true.
You don't want to get over there without magic because then you're stuck.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I thought both of you had really good runs. It was a very linear seed because both Go modes were behind Pendant. So it was like and Pendant was part of the Go mode. So it was like you were obviously going to get steered down that route. But I thought it was a good race, and I think there are some really interesting flag sets you could play with this. So I'm gonna be playing around with some stuff, but um,
It's
this
certainly a fun flag set. It makes you think a lot about routing in the mid, like after you've done your initial like bridge clear, um, depending on what's at snail shop, what's not, when you get pendant, when you don't, when you get gate key, like it can really change your routing around. I had a recent seed I was doing where I had to clear nearly everything in the future as well. I think I ended up getting what I needed off of Son of Sun, but it can be
I was
very
hoping
interesting thought process as you're playing.
I was hoping personally that Woe was gonna have Heroes Medal into Toma's Pop into Prism Shard.
I was worried about
Because
that. I was
Prism
worried.
Shard would have just given you one more thing to do, because then that could have had Pendant.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was like, this has got to be pendant at low, and I'd forgotten about Heroes Medal and then Toma's Pop as things. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's gotta be. It's gotta lead me there. It's gotta give me my go mode.
There was also a part, Mershana, in your run where I said, I'm pretty sure Mershana watched my video on Legacy of Cyrus early pendant chests.
No, I've just been practicing that. I did get confused halfway through it. I don't know if you noticed at one point in the 600 forest, I was like pushing against the wall to like
Oh,
get to the next
yes.
screen,
You
and
had
I was like,
already gotten that.
what? Where? Why is it? Why can't I go through? And then I was like, oh, I'm in 600. That's why. Okay. I hadn't switched over.
But no,
I was
but
like, oh
good.
no, some bug I found. Oh no.
But I think you
Hold
found
on.
you found a rainbow and you found something else crazy from that. So it was pretty good.
Haste helm, I think.
There were a lot of haste helms.
Nova armor you found.
Nova
Yeah.
armor, yep. Yeah, no, being able to put the prism specs and the Nova armor and a rainbow onto Chrono was just fabulous.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining tonight, everybody in chat, for coming and hanging out with us, and everybody involved, whether it be racers or Aku or Rhythrix, for helping with commentary and tracking. And we're going to have more stuff like this coming out. Organized play is on its way from PseudoArc as well. So keep your ears peeled for that, and there will be some more announcements coming. But thank you guys for coming and hanging out, and I will catch you all next time.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Have a nice night.
Night, take care.
Good night, everyone.